Most agents overestimate what they can do in 6 months and completely underestimate what they can do in 5 years. I know because it took me 5.5 years before I had my quote unquote breakout year. And I want to take some time in this video to share what I learned from that, but more importantly, help you understand where you have grown and how to compound that and actually plan on your future so that you can help determine a future that is predictable and that's not just happening to you. Let me explain. A couple years into the business full time, right? I used to say I was full time for a couple years at that point, but I had really been part time for about 5.5 when I was a teacher. But after a few years of being in the business full time, I was asked to speak on stage at an event and get asked questions. And if I'm being honest, my ego was probably a little bigger than it should have been at that point in time because I had some success. So I shared that I sold 47 homes my first year full time in the business. Right, I was really proud of that. But if I had to go back in time, I definitely would not have presented the information that way. You see, what I did and what so many agents do is they try to make this seem easy and that it happens fast. And in reality, that wasn't true. I had my license for about 5.5 years. I was a teacher at the time, so I hadn't really done much with it, done a couple deals here and there, or at least in my mind, I didn't think I had done anything with it. But in the reality, I was learning. I was studying contracts. I was out there in the field spending time with people that didn't transact and learning what that felt like. I also had a rental property at the time, and I was fixing that up with my hands, doing all the work myself. I was renting it myself. I was in front of people and communicating with them about real estate in a lot of different ways that didn't necessarily transact or have a transaction, but looking back, gave me really, really important lessons about the process. So the reality is, it took me 5.5 years to even get to the point where I had the courage to try to go full time. And yes, that sixth year, I did have some success and sold 47 homes, but it would not have come without everything I learned in the 5.5 years prior. In today's day and age with social media and how fast and easily agent interviews and access to that comes around, a lot of the younger agents think this is supposed to happen fast, and when it doesn't, they quit. The reality is there's a lot more stories like mine where it took agents a significant amount of time before they had any level of success. So today I'm going to do a little activity with you that I do with the agents on my team every so often, and I do with myself. That's a really productive way, to see who we've become. Whether we like it or not, change is constant. And we are not the same person we are today that we were a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. We're always changing. Now, you could just let that change happen, or you can plan the change. You can plan your future and actively work towards changing to that person you want to become. Or you can just keep doing what you're doing and let that change automatically happen. But I guarantee you, 5 years from now, if you look back, you're going to be different at some level. And most of us at a lot of levels. So before I get in the activity, if this video is helpful, click subscribe. That's one of the ways that I can tell if this content is actually helping people out there in the universe. And drop a comment below if you want more information on specifics about how we teach and grow agents with strategies. This is more bigger picture in this video, where we're going to try to focus on what you've actually accomplished, how far you've come, and where you want to go. So with that being said, take out a sheet of paper. Take out something to write with. And I want you to write down where you were, who you were, just a couple quick cliff notes as a person 5 years ago. Right? Who were you hanging out with? What were you eating? What types of hobbies did you have? What was your business? What was your work? Really put yourself into that time. Take some time to do this. Pause the video if you have to. After you have that set, I want you to think about being that person 5 years ago. What would shock them about the person you are today? What would you have never guessed about your life that is the reality now that was not even on your radar back then? Take some time, write that down. Once you have that finished, I want you to do the same thing for last year. Go back in that space. Where was your focus a year ago? What type of person were you? What were your hobbies? What were your interests? What would have shocked you about the person you are today from last year? Take some time. Pause the video if you need to. Last one. Last month. Go to the person you were last month. Now, when we go in shorter intervals like this, it can be challenging. We really have to spend some time and think. But each day we're changing. So it might be something little. It might not be as drastic as, say, your 5-year comparison. But even doing a month ago, write down something that's different about you today than a month ago. Something, maybe it's not as shocking, but maybe it's something that you can look back and say, yeah, no, there's a change here. Right? The point of this exercise is to see we're all growing, whether we realize it or not. And growth even happens in these micro cosms of time, right? A day, a week, a month, it's still happening. We're not always seeing it because it happens so slowly, but it's happening. Now, once you have that information and we can acknowledge that we're changing and it is real, it is happening, I want us to be intentional about our future. We're going to work backwards now. Next month, what are you going to be doing that would be shocking to today's version of you? Or what would you be doing a month from now that would make today's version of you proud? Write it down. Again, spend some time. Don't rush through this. Pause the video on each of these. Give yourself some space and silence to write this down. Now we're going to do the same thing for a year from now. Write down what the future you of a year from now is going to be doing. What's going to shock today's version of you when they see you a year from now? Write it down. Now, here's what's cool about this exercise. Whether what you're writing down happens or not, that's not the point. The point is we can shape it. You might start working and write whatever you wrote down, start working towards it, and it might take you down another lane. It might change your opinion again. That's the whole point. As long as you're taking a next intentional step, reevaluating, planning, you can make your next intentional step. But if you're just floating through, whatever happens, happens. And the last one, now it's your big goal. 5 years from now, what is going to shock today's version of you about the person you're going to be 5 years from now? Write it down. Have fun with these. Let your imagination go. I like to put these in like the back of my planner, and I like to pull them out and, look at them and read them every now and then, to see what I wrote down in the past and see what still applies and still doesn't. But this is a really good exercise to help you get aligned with what you're doing each day. It doesn't necessarily have to be real estate. But we know through lots of studies that if there's a why behind why you're doing what you're doing each day, it's more sustainable. So having this type of exercise can help you find out why you want to do what you want to do and put some meaning behind it, if nothing else. If it's real estate, great. If not, get on that right track sooner rather than later so you can stick to whatever actions you're supposed to be taking to get you where you want to go. If you have questions on any of this, or you just want to brainstorm, I'm always happy to talk. I get calls, texts, emails all the time from people who watch these videos. I want to see you get on the right track to finish the year strong. If you need me, I'm here.